Releasing the breath now and bringing your awareness to the body. We'll use this second anchor to help keep us present for a moment in time. So starting at the feet, we'll gently scan the body, and as we check in with each body part, just noticing what sensations you can feel in these areas. And once again, anytime the mind wanders away, just imagine it, the thought floating away like a leaf on the stream and coming back to the body, coming back to focusing on the sensations. So bringing your awareness to your feet now. What do you notice here? Is there any tingling, any tightness, any weariness? We're not trying to force a sensation, so you may not feel anything at all, and that's perfectly okay. We're just being present with whatever arises. Moving your awareness now up the legs, taking in the ankles, the lower legs, and the knees. Once again, checking in here and noticing what sensations you can feel. There's no right or wrong, just what is here in this moment. Moving further up the legs now, taking in the upper leg, the thighs, the hips and pelvis area, and what is present here in this moment. What do you notice? What sensations? Once again, moving further up the body, taking in the belly and the lower back, checking in with this area. What can you feel? What do you notice? Is there a fullness or an emptiness? Is there an aching or release? Not judging, not wishing for something more or something different. Just being present with what is. Moving further up the body now, bringing awareness to the sensations within the chest and upper back. Checking in here. What is present for you? What do you notice? What movement can you feel? The lungs moving, the heart beating. Is the back of the body pulling your attention? Just noticing and just sitting with whatever's here in this moment. Moving your awareness now to the shoulders, working down the arms, the upper arm, the elbow, lower arm, the hands and the fingers, taking your arms into awareness. What can you feel here in this moment? Is there a certain part of the arm that's vying for your attention? If there is, zooming in onto this area and just being present with whatever sensation is here. Sitting and just being. So moving further up the body now and bringing your awareness to the neck and taking in the head, starting from the back of the head to the top of the head, to the forehead, the eyes, nose, cheeks, the ears, the mouth and the chin. Bring the whole head and neck into awareness now. What is vying for your attention? What sensations can you feel? Just being present with what's here in this moment. And bringing the whole body into awareness now, starting from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Where is the body? How is the body feeling? What sensations have arisen? What have you noticed in these moments that you didn't notice before? Is there somewhere that needs your attention? Zooming in on wherever needs some more attention. No judgment, just awareness. And seeing if you can understand the reason behind why this is here in this moment. And just sitting with the sensation for one last moment. It's now time to let go of the body and bring our awareness to our third anchor, the anchor of sound. So bringing your focus to your ears now. Feel the sensation of the ears for a moment. Now open up your awareness to the sounds that are coming from within you. Can you hear any sounds? Or is there a silence? Can you notice the breath? Notice the heart? Any noises from the tongue? And just noticing the sounds, allowing them to flow around you. And once again, if the mind wanders away with a thought, bringing it back to the sounds. Checking in now with what you can hear without any labels, just the energy of the sound. And now we're going to expand our awareness to the sounds that are surrounding us. So as we open up our awareness and notice the sounds that are coming from within our room, from outside our room, we're not trying to label them, we're trying to feel the sounds. What is the quality of the sound? What is its tone, its frequency, its vibration, its pitch, its loudness, its depth? Try and allow the sounds to flow around you and through you without labeling them. And anytime you notice the mind wandering with thought, bringing back to the focus of sounds. And just noticing if the mind has wandered, or if it was able to focus on the sounds without labeling them, just allowing them to flow. No judgment in, no right or wrong, just sit with whatever is present. And as we end our meditation practice, I'll end it with a poem called The Guest House by Rumi. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a needness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows, who violently sweep your house, emptying it of all your furniture. Still, treat each guest honourably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. It is now time to return back to this time, back to this space. And in a moment you'll hear the sound of the bowl. And using our sound anchor one more time, I'd like you to focus on the sound from the moment it begins to the moment it ends. And when it ends, you can gently awaken the body by opening the eyes and stretching in any way that feels comfortable for you. So I'm just unmuting everyone now. And just do a check-in, see how you're feeling now as opposed to when you arrived. If you're feeling more relaxed or calm, or if you're feeling more wired. Sometimes when we take a moment to check in, anxiety and overwhelm can arrive within us because we're checking into things that we weren't aware of. And other times it can actually calm and release because we're actually sitting and being present with what is and allowing it to move through us. So just remember, anytime we're in meditation, let go of any expectation that you may have, because each experience is going to be different from the next one. And if you're clinging to the idea that it's going to be peaceful, I'm going to reset, I'm going to have the best experience, my mind is going to be focused, it's never going to wander, then you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. I've been practicing for years, and I don't always, rarely get to practice that perfect. My mind does wander, it does think, it does move away. But what I do is I use my practice to come back to the moment. So I've shared 3 different anchors with you tonight because this month is about mindfulness, and I wanted to give you 3 different anchors to use whenever you need them to bring you back to the present moment. So obviously the breath is something that is key to meditation, key to mindfulness, key to understanding your body and where you're sitting at right in this moment. When you check in with the breath, you can get a lot of information about what's going on for you. If you notice your breath is jagged, like quite fast, it's probably because you're in a state of some type of stress. If you notice the breath is quite slow and relaxed, then you'll notice that you feel more calm. So the breath gives us a lot of information. So checking in with the breath and seeing where it's at, and then just following it. And as you flow with the breath, the longer you sit with it, it actually will regulate. And when our breath regulates, it actually turns on our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our calming system. So a really good tool. The body scan is a really good tool to check in. If you're feeling a bit antsy, just don't know what's going on, or a body scan is good because you can check in with the body, see what's sitting with you. Is there a heaviness sitting somewhere with you? Like I notice that sometimes when I'm checking in, I'm like, oh, I've got this tightness across my shoulders and my neck. And it's because I'm up here, I'm tense, and I'm like, okay, I need to relax, I need to drop that down. So checking with the body is really good for that. Body scans also good to do at night if you're finding it very difficult to fall asleep. Really good practice to help relax and ease the body. And then sound anchors. Sound is really interesting because sound is an anchor that is a practice that helps us go into this open awareness practice, which is what mindfulness is leading to. It's not having an anchor that's keeping you present. It's about being aware and being present in the moment with whatever is arising. And sound is the tool that we can use to get to that spot in our mindfulness practice, because we're opening our awareness to what's happening within us and around us, but we're not attaching to what's happening within us or around us. We're not labeling it and getting caught up in, oh, that's a kookaburra, oh, they're so cute, oh no, he's really annoying, he's so loud, or whatever it might be. The sound is a really cool tool to use in that way. And sound also is great for when you're outside, because when we're outside, sometimes we miss the quality of nature or the calming vibe of nature. I don't know, I can't think of the right thing. Nature has this way to reset us, and when we go and we listen to the sounds of nature, whether it be the trees or the birds or the rustling, it actually, the ocean, it's like this natural frequency pattern that it makes, that it's like on the, so sound is a frequency, and we're frequency also. And those sounds are set at a certain frequency, a certain hertz, that relax our body and relax our mind. So when we focus on sound in that way, it helps our body release stress and get to a state of neutral, a state of regrounding and recentering. So that's why I brought those 3 practices to you today. to bring in mindfulness for us. So I'll go over to Suzanne, because she's going to talk about our topic tonight, about rebirthing with mindfulness. So I'll let you do the next part.
Okay, so I thought I'd just go over, I think everybody knows what mindfulness means, but it's always good to just visit again. So mindfulness is about being fully present in the moment. And as we did that meditation, I'm sure there was sensations, there was vibrations that were going on from within. You probably could see thoughts coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So what we're trying to achieve, or what's not an achievement, but what we're trying to do in that moment and be in that moment is the observer. So it's the mind watching the mind. And it's understanding that you're not your thoughts, you're not your feelings, you're just observing it. You're sitting back and you're holding back, and there's no judgment, there's no critiquing, or, you know, why can't it be this way, I'm bored, and blah, blah. You're just sitting in the moment. And even like when it's quiet, there is sound within the silence, if we understand that. Like when you're sort of in the breath and that spaciousness is opening up, that's the formlessness, okay? Even in that, there is a sound within in that, if you start to really be present with it. So what we're trying to do is, like, as Amanda said, each experience will be different. You can't go, oh, now I'm going to sit still and it's going to be amazing, I'm going to go on this journey. It's not even, it has nothing to do with that. It's not goal orientated. It's just a moment in time where you are now just with the as is. You're in the here and now. It's a moment to moment. You're just following the pace of whatever's going on. And, you know, I can give you two sort of analogies. There's one analogy that I really like. You can imagine yourself sitting in a room, and you just gently close your eyes, and then just imagine two doorways on the right and the left. And then as you're sitting there, somebody comes through the door. They might be crying, so that could be, you know, that emotion, the crying motion. You might see someone passing through the room, stomping, making loud noises. And so rather than get up and converse with them and, oh, are you okay? And you know, you're trying to fix it and you're worried about them, you're just sitting there, you're just watching, you're just watching. Another analogy might be, imagine your mind as the train, the platform, you know, the train station, and there's these like clouds, choo-choo train clouds of thoughts, you know, they're just passing through. So you might have the worry train passing by, the thinking train passing by, planning train passing by. So rather than you grabbing onto it and having this conversation, engaging and you know, being part of it, you're just watching the train go by. You're not getting on the train. You're just being the observer. So for some of us, it's not an easy thing to do, because you've got to understand our childhood, especially with these big emotions. And as Naomi was saying, you know, something's come up in the last few days. You've got to understand that in our childhood, we didn't really get an opportunity to process our strong feelings. Our parents didn't know how to deal with it. So so we've been locked with this inner child that hasn't had that opportunity to process anger, to process fear, to process anxiety, to process stress. It's not something that we were taught. And so now we're in this environment where we are doing the same thing day after day, and things are starting to surface. And especially as a parent, if you've got young children, we think it's the child that's triggering us, but it's not really. It's an unprocessed insecurity or wound that's just getting opened up in that moment, because we're seeing it as a reflection of something that we probably haven't dealt with. So this is where mindfulness, we chose this topic because we felt this was the antidote. This is something I wish I learned as a little girl because, you know, if it was in the schooling system, my goodness, you know, a lot of us would be a little bit more level-headed and probably balanced as adults, but that's okay. That's part of the journey. We're here to adult, we're here to grow up, because we've all got to really understand that even though we might be in our 30s and 40s, we're still stuck emotionally in a child, okay? So, and that's the freakiest thing about it. Like I always just say, wow, we don't get a license to have kids. You know, this is something we need to, pre-children, sort ourselves out or have some sort of mindfulness and meditation practice, because it would make the journey of parenthood and even just, you know, being a person in this planet on this time, understand what is feelings, what is thoughts. They're not you. because we've attached ourselves to the identity that I am angry, I am upset. Well, you're not really. It's a thought. Okay, it's not you. So there's really powerful things that you can do with mindfulness to create that detachment, to create the space. And the space is you're holding back. And as we taught you with the breath, just taking a few deep breaths, as Amanda said, it calms the mind down. And then you're checking in. Oh, I'm feeling a bit of anger here, feeling a bit of stress here. What's going on? Checking in, checking in. And you might even feel in your body, oh, I'm feeling a bit tight in my stomach. I can feel my tone is changing. I'm raising my voice. Wonder where that's coming from. Checking in, checking in. You may not get the answers, and sometimes you might have to journal a little bit later, but it's just checking in. You're not judging yourself. You're not being hard on yourself. You're actually holding compassion. You're holding a space. And then you're just going, oh, that was interesting. Where did that come from? And so this is the thing. When that train comes in, usually it will pass in 90 seconds. But if you're still holding on to it and you've caught it and you've given it a story and a dialogue and you've given some meaning and a belief around it, it's going to sit with you. So this is really powerful with mindfulness. The beauty of meditation and having a daily practice, it helps to sharpen the mind. It helps to train that part of the brain to focus, to not get taken away on these trains that come throughout the day. Because we do worry. I mean, a lot of us, if we're sitting in the stage of fear and worry, it's because we're future thinking, okay? If we're sitting in the mindset, oh, I miss my old life, I wish things would go back to the way they were, I miss my classes, what's happening? We're sitting in the past. And that's where we're going to suffer. The only place to be is in the present moment, in the here and now. And for some of us, it's hard, like, you know, because we don't want to deal with these emotions. But this is the perfect opportunity as we still continue to retreat, because it could go for another few weeks, to start practicing these skills of finding your own meditation practice or just practicing mindfulness. I went for a walk this morning to the lakes, and sometimes I'll start to chat in my head, and then today I just said, that's it, just be mindful. And then I started walking and I started to feel the footsteps. I could feel the crunching or that pebbles, you know, under my feet. I was watching the tree because it's quite windy this one. I was watching them sway. I was admiring the colors. I was just being present with my senses, feeling the wind, feeling the coolness. And then as I walked down the path, I could see people going past. And it was just like, it was lovely. I wasn't labeling anything. I wasn't judging anything. I was just being awed by the presence. I was being curious by what I was seeing. I wasn't putting any attachment or label or form to it. You know, identify, oh, that's a nice tree. I wasn't doing that at all. That's what mindfulness is, not that. I'm just observing. I'm just going, wow, I'm just being curious. It's beautiful to watch young children, especially toddlers. Haven't you seen they just, if you take them to a new environment, they just like pick up flowers. And, you know, Christy's, your kids are perfect. I see their photos, I go, yeah, these kids are mindful, because they just go into the gardens and they get down to ground level and they're just so curious. It's like they look at things for the first time. That's mindfulness, you know? I look at my cat and they just sleep, and they go outside and they'll have a wander and they'll look at a bird and they might go catching a butterfly. And I'm just like, wow, pets are just, they know how to teach mindfulness. But us humans, we think we're superior, but we've lost the plot because we've put on too much mental load. We've lost the joy in life, the joy of being present, just with the as is. Not even having a need to be anywhere or do anything, just enjoying the moment in time. And I think we've forgotten that because we like to be busy. We started to wear this badge of honor to say, I'm busy, I'm doing something. Whereas if we sit around, we feel bad, like I'm a bit lazy, I should be doing something. Maybe I need to paint the room, like I need to do something. But I've enjoyed it because I see stuff I need to do. I'm like, nah, I'm just going to be mindful because I'm trying to milk this moment because I know it's not going to last forever. It's just a moment in time. It's just, once we're out of this and life goes back, and it won't go back to normal, I know that for sure. But once you get back into the momentum of doing whatever you used to do, I think we have to keep reminding ourselves, don't be foolish as humans to think we can future plan. Like now I'm just going to wink and say, yeah, I'm going to Sri Lanka. You know? And that's it. I'm not going to overthink it. Because I think the more you get attached to the idea, like, oh, this is coming up, my 40th birthday, and I've got this all planned, and anything can happen. This has taught us a powerful thing, that this virus is bigger than all of us. We can't even see it. And look how much disturbance it's done to our life. You know, it's unbelievable. So on a spiritual level, I'm just like, okay, this is the awakening. This is why we called it Rebirthing with Mindfulness, because we thought, hang on, this is the perfect time, like caterpillars, go in our home, become the cocoon, and then get ready to emerge, get ready for this metamorphosis to happen. Because do you really want to go back to who you were? Like the busy person, the one that used to complain, I don't have enough time, I'm so busy. Do you really want to go back to that? Now you can see you've got pockets that you can probably get up a bit earlier. I could fit this in, I could do a 10-minute or 5-minute breath meditation before I get up. I'll go and brush my teeth, I'll do it mindfully. I'm not going to think about the day, I'm just actually going to feel myself brushing the teeth, smell my toothpaste, get at the back there. I'm going to drink my tea mindfully. I'm not going to go on my phone and multitask and all that. There's so many little pockets. I'm going to wash the dishes. I'm going to put the soap. I'm going to feel the dishes as I wash them with the cloth. There's so many things you can do. You don't even have to book it. Just bring awareness. Wake up to it. I can do this mindfully. Watch how many times we're washing our hands. Like, you know, it's like you can do it mindfully. This is really powerful time. So this, especially as parents, if we can start to model this and ask ourselves, how am I showing up in the present moment? How can I be with my kids more? How can I connect with them? They will be doing stuff that will trigger us. And then instead of blaming them, just go, well, I need to grow up here. I need to adult up. I'm still stuck in the little girl. My mummy and daddy ain't going to come for me. So it's time for me to parent myself. It's time for me to connect with what's going on inside. And sometimes it feels, the thing is, the past is the past. You can't change that. But you can now live in this moment and just go, what is the lesson behind there? What do I need to do? And then I can make conscious choices. Because everything that's mindless, where you're not thinking, it's all knee-jerk reaction. It's reactive. It's where you raise your voice. You get snappy, you get defensive, you pull inwards, you go quiet. I don't want to talk to anyone, you go silent. So this is where you can really check in and go, okay, this is not working. What do I need to heal? What am I asking myself? What do I need to do to parent myself and say, you know what, I'm doing the best I can with what's going on. And I mean, many people probably don't understand, but there's a deep sort of underlayer that's going underneath us. So when I talk about the inner child, that's that little girl within you that hasn't grown up, but then there's the ego, the false self. So this false self, every time that you are reacting, it's not really you, it's the ego. This is the ego that we've created as little kids to look after us, to look after the needs that our parents couldn't provide for us emotionally. So you hear your ego, like even this morning I said to my husband, because he's got this basket of clothes at the end of the bed, and I actually knew, I said, my ego wants to know when you're going to empty the basket. Because I can actually recognize, my inner being wouldn't care, but my ego really wants to know. She likes to have a dig, you know. So I go, my ego wants to know, when are you going to empty the basket? And he's like, oh no, I'm taking from it, because as I wear my clothes every day, I just need it. And then I was okay with that. But my ego was like, it was going, ask question, and I could hear it. So this is when you know your ego. Your ego is sneaky. It likes to lurk. It likes to judge. It likes to pick on people. It like, you know, it'll shout at people when you're driving. I'm the swearer. I know my ego is my swearer. It's not your standard neutral, content way of being. You're out of alignment. You can actually feel it. It's like it's out of a body experience. You're like, oh, where did that come from? So if you can catch your ego and actually befriend it, don't be harsh on it. Actually laugh at yourself and admit that I have an ego, because a lot of people are in denial. And that's the worst thing you can do. I want you to marry your ego and say, I love you. Thank you for being here, because you wake me up every day. Because please remember, we are perfectly imperfect in every way. Okay, so I love my ego. So what I want you to do is check in when you start to hear yourself out of alignment and you're getting a little bit upset. No, it's not your little girl, it's your ego that's there. And the ego is good, because the ego wakes you up. And the ego checks in, says, I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. And then you have a chance, the adult self has a chance to say, you know what, thanks ego, now rack off. Because now I'm going to do something completely different. I'm going to check in. I'm going to journal about what's going on. I'm going to go for a walk. I need to step away from this room. I need to get some air. I need to go and get a drink. I need to do, just check in and just quiet the mind, stop the shouting, stop the berating. Thanks for your help, but you haven't helped me, so just off you go. So it's good to just understand that. Do some self-talk. Don't be shy about it, because again, we're not supposed to talk to ourselves in our mind, but this is really important. You need to witness the ego and say, I've caught you this time. I know what you're doing. You're trying to get me worked up. You're trying to get me reactive. I'm not putting up with it anymore. So I've got to take care of my needs. I've got to find ways to nourish myself. I've got to fill up my cup. So this is where you've got an opportunity now to do mindful moments, to bring mindful snacks into your life. Like Amanda just taught us, you can focus on sound. You can focus on the breath. You can do just an open awareness, just observing. Just to switch off the disruptive thoughts. Just to pause, reset, check in, and go, ha, okay, I finally can see what's going on here, why I'm stuck in this loop. Why do I keep coming back to this loop? Now I know why, because the little girl in me never got that need met. They never got the need met. So she is now calling the ego to always look after her, and I don't need to be there anymore. I just need to focus on being present with here and now, and understand that these emotions are just here to wake us up, just like The Guest House. I love that poem. Do you know that was done in the 13th century? That's crazy. Imagine that many years ago, people still having these issues, and we're still doing it today. So it's just, that's what it is. Your body, your mind is like the guest house. They're going to come in. Allow these people to come in. Allow anger. Sometimes depression will hang around. But you've got to understand, we're holding on to them. The moment we engage with them, we connect with them, and we give them a reason to stay in, they're not going to go. So it's almost like you're just watching them walk through the room. Let them sit on the couch and just watch. You don't have to talk to them, just let them be. Because eventually they'll just get sick of you and they'll just walk off. They'll just go, okay. You know, it's like, I love going to the ocean. You see the waves come in, the waves go out. The waves come in, the waves go out. And that's what it is. It's ebb and flow. Everything's impermanent. Nothing will be the same every moment. Every breath will be different from the last. So this is the key. No one's taught you this. Now I'm giving you the secret. I'm giving you the key. So start to use it, because once you understand this, you become so liberated. You become so empowered, because all that crap and that noise doesn't bother you. It's just like, just washes off you, because you're not getting caught up in the drama. You're not getting caught up in the humaning of what goes on in here. And that's what we've forgotten. We have not been taught to let go of all these mental load, these thoughts, and understand that you aren't your thoughts. We've been thinking it for so long. I am this, I am that. We've attached ourselves to identity, image, material, form. It's all an illusion. All an illusion. What you are is breath. You are like the lens watching consciousness, your energy. We're multi-dimensional beings. We're just in this human form. That's it. That's the big joke. The joke's on us. We thought we were more than what we were. But really, when we start to close our eyes, what's left? The breath. It's beautiful when you just go to sleep. Everything locks down, doesn't it? Everything shuts down. Sight, your hearing, what's still going? The breath. That's powerful. You know, it keeps us alive. So we really wanted you to really think about this month how you can be the anchor, because our kids are looking at us, they're watching us. They're watching us, how we're coping with this, how we're coping with the uncertainty. And this is where we need to adult up and start to self-regulate, start to model the behavior. Because I have this very deep sort of philosophy where I always say to myself, I can't expect my children to do what I'm not willing to embody. So that's why I make it an effort every day to practice mindfulness, to do my meditations, to go on my walks, to do my self-care, to keep nourishing myself so I can be emotionally attuned and available to my kids. Because if I don't, it's an empty cup. She's a dragon mum. She's resentful. She's nasty. The ego just takes over. She's an ego mum. It's not pretty. And so I always try and look after my needs. You know, it's like swapping the paradigm. You know, we've always thought, oh, the mums have to, you know, do everything for the family and it's all about the kids. No, I actually look after myself first, because I know that if my head's on right, then everything will flow. So if it means getting up an hour before everybody else does, so be it, because that's the commitment I'll make as a parent, to make sure that I show up, that I'm present all the time. So something to think about, because this is hard. You know, we're homeschooling, like I said before, we're juggling a lot and it's a lot of expectations. But again, this is the mindfulness. When we start to give it a story, it's hard. I don't know what I'm doing, and I know I've got to give this the result by Friday. I've got to shoot all these emails, and we've got to get onto Google Classroom. The moment you start playing these dramas in your head, you're not in mindfulness. You're not in the present moment. So this is where you always got to pull back and just go, it just is. Accept the as is, you know, and just get on with it. Don't give it too much emotional words. Just go, it's unpleasant, but we'll work through it. Try and change your mindset. Flip it. Flip the coin. What's going well for me right now? Change these negative thoughts. Find 3 positive things that are going for you. Like, build up. Keep filling up the cup. Everyone knows about the bucket, how to fill the bucket story with the little boy, and he starts his morning and the bucket's full, but throughout the day he gets pushed and shoved and people tease him and things happen, the bucket starts to get empty. Well, this is just like with us mums. We've got to take responsibility to fill up our bucket and stay on our game. And sometimes it'll get a bit empty. We've got to fill it up again. Take a breath. Take a moment to go outside. Connect with the sounds, the beautiful nature of the hertz that Amanda was talking about. They attune you just very quickly, because we are part of that. We're all one. We're all connected. There's no separateness, you know. So we are still an extension of everything, the plants, everything. We're all interconnected. So if you can actually make conscious awareness part of your day, and understand that being present in the now, it's going to help you cope better. I'm not going to take away your problems, because you're still going to have to deal with them, like whatever shows up. But I just want you to be able to understand it's about mind, watching the mind, you becoming the observer, you becoming the watcher of what's going on. Okay, because the moment you start to be the actor and you start to be part of the story, then you're taking the bait. You've gone into this illusion. You've gone into this constructed reality. But if you can just keep pulling back and go, okay, get back to facts. What am I seeing? Be the detective. Just observe. Cut out these emotional words. Just use pleasant, unpleasant. It just is. Just keep it really neutral, because the brain doesn't know what to do with those words. It just goes, I don't have anything in my files that's pleasant. And I'll just leave it at that. So you're just trying to tame the mind. Don't let the mind start to become, you know, your master. Sorry, you're going to master the mind. Don't become enslaved by it. You understand? So yeah, this is a perfect time for us. Use Mindful May to your benefit. And Amanda and I will have, you know, lots of little blogs and articles, and we've got our meditation coming up, live meditation on the 14th and the 21st of May. So, you know, that's a good time to hop on, keep practicing. But there's Insight Timer, there's Smiling Mind, there's Calm, there's some really good apps out there. If you just want to start with a guide and then eventually don't have a guide, just take a moment to just sit in a chair and just check in. Just close your eyes. Sometimes you don't even have to close your eyes. You can just find a focal point and just look at it and just stare at it and just watch it and just keep watching it. And all those distractions and those noises, don't get caught up with it. Just keep coming back to the breath, coming back to the breath, coming back to the now, coming back to the now. That's all we're practicing. We're not asking you to do fancy music and light candles and get your crystals out. It doesn't have to be that way. It can just be in the now. That's it. Just in the now. This is it. Sit down in the now. check into the breath. That's all you have to do. It's not hard. Like everyone, it's about making the time. If you value yourself and you feel that you're worthy of this, you'll do it. You wouldn't question it. So that's basically what I want to talk about with the mindfulness. Just look after yourself. Use this opportunity to not see this as, this is a unprecedented moment and it's, it's awful and it's changed my life and I don't like it. Just invite it in. Just go, wow, this is an unusual time to be in, but we'll look back on this and a lot of us will awaken. A lot of us will re-emerge as new human beings, appreciating every moment that we're alive. We have a breath. Some people aren't breathing tomorrow. So just be grateful. Just learn to be compassionate, learn to forgive, to be patient, to be kind. Just go back to the basics, because that's who we are. We are naturally born to love. We're naturally born to serve, to be. So that's it.
Okay, so now we just open up the floor to any questions. So if anyone has a question, I think everyone's unmuted. Oh, Jen, you're muted, but if you want to unmute and ask a question, you're more than welcome to. So anything that's happened this week or anything specific to do about mindfulness that you want to implement, or anything to do with parenting, or anything to do with relationships, because we know that they're coming under scrutiny also during this time. If you've got anything that you like, that you want to share with us, want to get some ideas around, share away now.
Come on, let's have something to talk about.
I just want to say I'm glad that we were on mute, because there's a little meltdown happening in the background. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay, some yelling. It's all good. My cat's come to say hello.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. No, all good.
You got anything, anyone? Christy, no?
Oh yeah, there is something I haven't researched. Ethan has grabbed on naughty, the word naughty.
Yeah.
And I kind of was like, we don't need to say that, just kind words. And I was just like, just say cheeky, because he just gets obsessed with words. I was like, just quickly just change it to cheeky.
Yeah.
So what's he using the word naughty in terms of? Who's he using it towards, or why is he using it?
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Like he gets obsessed with it. So if he stims, it's like naughty. Like, he's probably not
referring to himself.
Then today he was like naughty to Rory. Like he was like naughty. And then I was like, oh.
So what is Rory doing that he thinks is naughty?
Yeah, like throwing, or he was grabbing his hair.
Yeah.
Rory's just like 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Must be a hormone. He's just out of control.
So I guess instead of focusing on the word naughty and telling him to use that word, that's probably going to engage him more in the energy of using the word. So my focus would be, in that respect, I would say Rory's not naughty. Rory's only 2. He doesn't understand what he's doing. So I would explain to him, Rory's having some type of need, some type of emotion, and the only way he knows how to express it is with his body, because he can't talk. He can't talk, Mummy.
Okay, cool.
So his behaviour, although he shouldn't be doing that, is not acceptable. It's his only way to communicate. So we can tell Rory that it's not okay, that behaviour is not okay, but we do it with nice words, and maybe say how you would speak to Rory when he, like, give him words or things that he could say to Rory when he's doing those things, instead of focusing on don't use naughty, don't say naughty. Maybe give him other words to use and say, and sort of try. I know he's only 4 and he's on the spectrum, so his comprehension of what you're going to do and say is going to be a bit difficult. But if you can try and work the conversation around, trying to find, so say instead of focusing on the naughty and say, oh, Rory's really upset right now and he's using his body to express how he's feeling. That's not okay. Let's tell Rory that's not okay. And so he can say,
that's
Rory,
not okay.
Not okay. Rory, not okay, instead of Rory, naughty. Yeah. So I don't know. It's trying to give him other words he can use in place of naughty, so that the energy isn't on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then what would your, like, so if he's stimming or just saying it lots, like during the day, he would just be like reading a book and he's like, naughty, naughty, naughty.
So is he just saying the word like it's a swear word as such? You know, kids pick up on words and they just say the word. So he's just, it's just so for him.
So just leave it.
It's curiosity. Yeah. So something new that he's learned, and he's getting a reaction from you out of it. Yeah. As soon as you stop reacting to it, it'll be boring. He'll find a new word to choose. Yeah. And then he might find a swear word, which will be even worse. But what I guess where your focus wants to be is if he's using it in a way that you don't want him to use the word, then give him other words to use. If he's just saying it like, oh, naughty, naughty, like it's the word hello or like it's the word no, he's just using it. Yeah, just testing it out, feeling it on his mouth. Don't engage in it. Don't give it energy. Because the more you...
No, I usually don't, but I'm just like, oh, you say it all the time.
Yeah. And so what you... And I guess for you is why are you so caught up in the word naughty? What is it triggering within you? Why is it so offensive to you? What work do I need to do so I can release my attachment to that word?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some powerful work there. Yeah. And I truly remember with level 1, we talked about descriptive praise.
Yeah.
So pointing out what is going well. So change the narrative. And like Amanda said before, doing commentary, that might help. But to me, he sounds like he just likes the word naughty.
Yeah,
like
he's just being cool silly. I just think, oh my goodness.
So he's probably fascinated by the sounds it makes with his mouth, the naughty, like the emphasis with it. So like Amanda said, just learn to detach because you're giving meaning to it, and that's what makes you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You need to go, why is this bothering me?
No, it doesn't make me uncomfortable. I just get worried that I'm like, oh, you're going to, like, Rory's going to be saying it and he's going to kinder and he's like...
Yeah. And that's it. And that's what it is. We have this concern. We don't want them to have a complex or be labelled by it, right? So it's just like Amanda said, just
let it go.
Don't get your feathers ruffled too much about it. But you can change the narrative. You can take charge on how the course or the discussion will go, the conversation. Like you can't control what he's going to say. He's going to say it. But you can take charge and say, look, I'm going to change the narrative, do a bit of diversion here. Teach him a new word.
Yeah.
What he means. Like there might be other words that he might have a bit of fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Just fizzle out of that word and he'll get bored of it. You know what I mean? But to me, he sounds like a kid. He gets excited by a word and he'll just go with it.
So just teach him new ones.
But he just loves to say it.
Yeah, he does get obsessed with sad and angry, which I find quite interesting.
Yeah, so that's okay. It's just, I think it's...
I let it go. I'm like, he's just experimenting with all these.
Yeah. But you can definitely start to play with the conversation, make it a narrative, observe, use your descriptive praise.
Yeah.
And start to teach him to point out what's going good and not focusing on that word, because maybe you are feeling there's a negative connotation to it, but in his head he's just using it because he likes it. He doesn't understand what the meaning
the word has no meaning.
So I don't think, don't get too caught up on it. Like I said, with mindfulness, you hear it, it just is. And play with it, play with that dynamic of what you can do with the word.
Cool, thanks.
Anyone else?
What about you, Jen? Have you got anything happening for you this week?
Not so much this week, but I have, like, since we did that retreat, I have felt a lot more calmer.
Yeah.
And I have become more aware of my thoughts now. Now I know not to engage so much with my thoughts. Right. And I've been trying to meditate every day. But then now that I am aware of my thoughts, I've noticed that my thoughts or my ego, they are very, it's really like it just constantly tells me that, you know, I'm doing something wrong, or, you know, I'm gonna, my kid, like, you're letting him watch too much TV, he's gonna grow up to be like this. Or my thoughts are just constantly like, oh, she didn't text you back. It's probably because she thinks you're so weird now that you're meditating. Or
He goes on overdrive.
like, it's like now I'm aware of all my thoughts. It's just like it
constant
berates me, and it's constantly putting me down, and I just have to just sit with it, and it's really uncomfortable to just sit with. And I have to tell Ben, like, right now my ego is telling me this, and it's creating a scenario in my head because I didn't get a text back from my friend because she thinks that I'm crazy because I told her I started meditating, and now I'm gonna be like, no one's gonna want to be my friend. Like, this is like my mind.
Don't worry, it's normal. I'll let Amanda have her take on it.
Yeah, so you're right. When obviously I started my practice a little while ago, and it is exactly that. When we step into mindfulness, it is unpleasant because what happens is we become fully aware of what the hell is going on up in there. And we didn't realize up until all this time how much of that conversation is negative, how much of that conversation is putting us down, how much of that conversation is taking away from our power. And so this is the first step. You're in stage 1 of mindfulness, which is the hardest bit because you've got to hear it, you've got to deal with it. And so stage 1 is awareness. Okay, this is happening. Stage 2 is I'm not engaging with this. I can hear it, I can see it, but I'm not allowing it to take charge and control over my actions, over how I respond, over I speak to my friend, or how I treat my partner, or whatever it might be. Stage 3 is actually, right, I need to do the work. I need to figure out why this voice is here. What the hell has been going on, or what trauma has happened for this to be so full on, for this to keep coming at me, for this to be so aggressive with its constant barrage. So it takes time to get to that, yeah? So you're right at the early stages, so you're sitting right perfectly, but it is difficult. What I recommend to do in this time, when those negative things are, when this constant stuff is coming up, start talking to yourself with kindness. This is the way to break this pattern, to break this cycle. So what 3 things can you say about yourself that's the opposite of the thought that you're having? So if it is, I'm turning into a crazy lady, you can say, actually, no, I'm actually looking after my well-being so I can be the best person, best version of myself I can be. So I can be the parent I want to be to, sorry, I know Ben's your husband. What's your son? Dylan. To Dylan. Yeah. So this is what we need to do is when that ego talks, we need to say, okay, I hear you, ego, but this is what I've got to say back to you. This is not true. What you're saying is not true, and this is the reason why. And you really need to start talking to yourself and telling yourself all the reasons why that ego is wrong, because that starts breaking. The ego gets bored with it. The ego's like, oh, she's just going to tell me to shut up. She's just going to tell me this. Okay, I'm not going to pipe up this time. And then it still comes, and when we're triggered, it comes, but it gets a bit more quieter. It doesn't get so full on. And then when we're in our practice, we have these tiny moments of, oh, it's quiet. And then we're like, oh, that was like, the ego wasn't there. I was actually able to have.
That's so true. That is so true. Yeah.
So that's what, just know that, yes, this is difficult, this is hard, but the more you practice, the further along you go, and then you get to the stage where you can do the work, you can clear it out, and you can release the ego from those nasty negative thoughts. So now is the perfect time to just say, I hear you, ego, and that's okay. I'm not engaging. I'm not allowing you to take control over me, which seems to be what's sort of happening. And here's what I have to say back to you. This is why what you're saying is not true. And see how if that helps move through those things a little bit easier.
I 100% agree with it, and I'm going to give you a different take on it. I always ask myself, what would love do in this moment? And that will dissolve the ego so quickly, because love is very powerful. So when you hear that ego, just go, what would love do in this moment?
But
And
with that, right?
Crushes it, because love is just so powerful. It's just pure energy, right?
You don't have to just like love yourself. I feel like when you say love, I just think, oh, like my thoughts are just like, it's very rare for me to even speak kindly of myself.
And that's why you need to fall in love with yourself again. You need to fall in love with yourself, because what's happened, this ego is like, you're not worthy, so I'm going to take over every moment and every thought of your life. And so this is like, imagine the ego like a toddler. When your toddler throws itself on the ground, you still love them. You still love them unconditionally. So it's meeting the ego and saying, I love you still. I don't know why you're here, but I still love you. I need to meet you where you're at. I'm going to sit with you and just say to you, what would love do in this moment? And it will melt, because the ego can't argue with that. Love is way more powerful. Love is pure. Love is, it's untainted. It's unconditional. Okay. So this is where you need to now visit it. And it's perfect that you're talking to yourself, like actually catching it, because when you can do that, you actually understand, haha, there's two separate entities going on here. And now I can grow up, I can adult up and say, ego starts to dissolve. You actually have to fire the ego. It's like you've got to fire it and say, your job's done.
You a hug.
Out. It's like sack him. Because, you know, this enough is enough, because, you know, you start to, it bothers you. And I used to have it all the time. Like I'd be cooking at the stove and I could hear all this constant noise and got to do this and got to do that. And it's just like going in my ear. And I'm like, shut up. Because it just gives you total mental overload. It takes over your life. But when you start to practice and you start to witness it and you start to face your fear, face the ego and say, I'm catching you out. Enough is enough. I don't believe this of myself. I know that I'm a good friend. I know that I'm a loving wife. I know that I'm a wonderful mother. I know that I'm a beautiful person. I'm going to take you on a spiritual level. I know that I'm an extension of source. I know that I'm an extension of divine intelligence, because this is where conscious parenting goes to level 2. You're going in a deep spiritual mindset and you're not connecting to the human and the ego, but you're coming from a place of pure love. That's it. I've had enough ego. I get that you're here to wake me up, to get me a little bit, you know, frazzled, but you don't have to get drawn into the stories, because it's all an illusion, Jen. It's all an illusion. Even who we are as adults, this is the false self. Who's showing up? The ego? It's not even you. You're this beautiful person under there. You just need to become the butterfly, emerge from it. And mindfulness will get you. But it's good now, because you need to get the breakdown. The breakdown gives you the breakthrough. So it's good that you're shedding a tear. It's good that you're showing emotion, because that shows that you're ready for change. You're sick of it. You've had enough. And that's what I love. When I see people going through the breakdown, I'm like, I've been there. Get to the breakdown, because the breakdown leads to the breakthrough. The breakdown leads to the freedom, to the liberation, to stand up, to take courage, to be confident and say, this is it. I am sick of this. I'm not playing this game anymore. I'm sick of the BS. Ego, shut up. You don't exist. You never existed. You're false. So just go. Enough. And so now your true self will come up. The extension of source, the extension of pure divine love, unconditional love. That's who we really are underneath all that. And if we start to connect with that, all this ego, all this attachment to form, all the attachment to feelings and thoughts just dissolves. Doesn't mean anything. But it's going to take you work. It's going to take time. And my suggestion is not just meditating, but doing the getting onto people to listen to, like Eckhart Tolle. There's Dr. Shivali. There's like, yeah, that's my girl. So you're on the right track. Love it. Love it. So, you know, these people, you've got to look up to the gurus that are talking, the wisdom teachers, because they're the ones, this is what we need to have learnt when we were little, right? I wish I learned this as a little girl, but now I try and teach that to my children, but not even teaching, just model the behavior, and it just happens. But you're on the right track, Jen. The fact that you're making effort to self-reflect, to practice self-development and self-growth, this is the time to be doing it, because we've spent too much time, you know, I've got to wear this, I've got to drive this, I've got to have this big house. We got so caught up in the show that we haven't invested in ourselves. You know, I used to laugh and say, my God, women spend so much. We do our face, we do our hair, we do our clothes. If we put the money into self-development, oh, look how much we would learn. If we did in courses, meditation, going on retreats, growing up, shedding, releasing, getting rid of the false self, coming back to the pureness, the wholeness, the completeness of who we are. We wouldn't have all this drama. We'd just enjoy the now, just enjoy the moment. So you're on the right track. It's good that you're starting to catch the ego. That's,
I do have a tip for, oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I do have a tip for Jen, because when I got hypnotized by this amazing lady, she's for nail biting actually. And she would explain how the brain works, but she said, sit down, you know, get into that, like when the mind is chatting, be like, okay, ego's here, like it's overwhelming. But then she said to sit down and say, okay, let's have a cup of tea together. And then Jen, you can be like, okay, you don't like me, or, you know, all those thoughts. And then you're like, no, I'm going to do it different, and just have a discussion and say to, the ego that, no, I love myself now, and I'm safe now, because that's kind of where it comes from too. Sometimes it's like
safety mechanism. Yes,
because it's like the stress is like, oh, you're not safe, so quickly bite your nails to protect you, or
just from my perspective, Jen, in relation to the self-love, I come from a deep place of not having that. Coming from low self-worth, not feeling like I belong, not feeling value. And so I get that it's very hard to say to yourself, I love you, you're worthy, you're enough, because it sounds like bullshit. That's what I used to listen to. That's bullshit. You know, I'd say it, I love myself, I love everyone. And in the back of my mind, the ego's constantly going, that's bullshit, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. It takes time. I'll tell you that. It takes time. You put in the effort. It works. I'm at a place now where I reckon I'm 85% there. I used to be like 2% there. So from 2% of what I used to be, you know, to 85%, there's still 15% of me that has bad days, that things come up that, you know, not happy with. But I work with the 15%. I understand it. I sit with it, and I'm like, okay, I understand why you're here, and I'm going to work on you today, or I don't have the energy to work on you today. I'm going to journal or work on you tomorrow or something like that. But just have a think about where you sit on that, you know, even if it's 1%, okay, I'm a 2 with loving myself right now. By the end of this year, I want to be a 4. What do I need to be a 4? Don't put too much pressure on yourself, What am I going to be what am I going to do to be a 4? I want to be a 4. I want to love myself to a 4. Okay. Well, I need to do affirmations. I need to journal about this every night. I need to say, what is the affirmation that makes me feel whole? Maybe the one that makes me feel the most uncomfortable, the one that feels the most untruthful. Maybe that's the one I need to write down, and I write it down 7 times every night. Every night I write it down 7 times. And eventually when I look in the mirror, every time I look in the mirror, I say it to myself. I look in my eyes and I say it to myself. And at first it's going to feel really awkward. It's going to feel really uncomfortable. It's going to feel really untruthful. And then in the end, it's just like something that you say, like hello. It's just like something that you say to yourself, and you're like, oh, hi, I love you, you know, type thing. And it becomes like this light conversation. At first it feels heavy, it feels hard, it feels difficult, but the more you say it, the more it becomes part of you. And so I think finding what your sentence is, what your positive affirmation about yourself is key to breaking this feeling about yourself. And I would definitely 100% journal it every night or every morning. And 7 is the key number. Write it down 7 times. I think writing it for you will be important because I think you need to see it. I think you need to write it, and I think you need to read it. And so you're feeling it as you're writing it, and you're seeing it. So you're using a couple of senses, and then you're going to speak it to yourself, because then you're going to hear it. And so you're using all your senses for this one affirmation to bring it to life.
Yeah.
So think about doing something like that to help with this, with the ego and the constant barrage of it coming in.
I would also recommend that book, Heal Your Life. Is that the one that you got?
Oh, the Louise Hayes one.
You gave that to me when I was 21, and I didn't get it, right? But then I read it just like last year, and I was like, wow, now I get it, because I'd grown up, right? Experienced life a bit more. In your 20s, like, oh, that's so pretty, nice words. But now, as 20 years on, I was like, wow, this book is life-changing.
Yeah.
I took the time to appreciate it in my 20s. I wasn't ready to hear it.
Oh yeah, I read it in my 20s, and it was like
it just sits. It's very light and la la la. But when you're now and you're ready to grow up, you're like, I want to give this to my daughter and say, read this. This is like a rite of passage. This is a powerful book. Yeah. The words, the affirmations, Heal Your Life. By Louis.
I'll quickly go run and get it.
Yes, you can go get it. But it's powerful. And what I would also say to you is, as Amanda said, affirmations are powerful. Journaling is powerful. Writing how you want to feel. How do you want to show up? If you come to my kitchen, I've got posters up on all my walls just because I look at it while I'm making my tea or making breakfast. I want to feel responsive, compassionate, loving, unconditional. Like I have words, key words that I want. How do I want to feel? How I want to feel, how do I want to show up? Yeah, that's the book. Oh, it's beautiful. You Can Heal Your Life. Yeah. I don't know if they still make that beautiful color copy.
Yeah, they do it all this one. So
I recommend you get that book.
This is the beautifully colorful one with all the pictures and stuff, but you can get a plain version.
She was ahead of her time. She was teaching this years ago. But they've got some really powerful affirmation, and it is about falling in love with yourself. We go and get married, we fall in love with others, we have children to complete us. We've got to fall in love with ourselves. We've got to marry ourselves.
And you're right. This was one of the key books that helped me learn to love myself.
Yeah. Once you love yourself with unconditional, like you just totally in awe, you're fascinated by yourself. I'm not saying like, I'm up myself. That's not it. You're just in perfect knowing that you're just beautiful as you are. There's nothing to change. You accept yourself as you are, unconditionally. That's it. I have nothing to prove. Then everything starts to fall into place because you're not having to prove yourself. You're not having to worry about others. You're just totally at peace. You're totally in Zen with what you've been given. And you understand that this is just a vessel. Don't get caught up with all this. Within you, there's this beautiful inner being, this beautiful love, light, energy. Okay, yeah. So you're on the right path, but definitely get into those books. Focus on yourself, self-development, self-reflection, journaling, meditating. These are the keys to getting to this place where you can just look at the world and see enjoy in lightheartedness. Don't get caught up with it. Don't get caught up with the illusion. You can just laugh at it and understand this is the joke. It's the big joke. It's the big illusion. It's the matrix, right? So it's like, you want to take the blue pill or the red pill. You can keep living the life you're living, or take the red pill and join us. Because this life is good, when you start to practice living in the now, it's quite beautiful. It's quite amazing. We're very, very lucky. So, yeah.
All right. Well, we've hit 8:30, so we will finish with our mantra.
Yes, that's so.
Just to let you know what we've got this month. We're actually running 2 free life book. So this is Mindful May this month. So as part of that, we wanted to run some live meditations for free. So I will be doing one, and they're all linking through Facebook. Mine's on, what day is it, Suzanne?
14th. You're the 14th.
Yep, the 14th, and Suzanne's on the 21st. And it's just only going to be half an hour session probably 20 minutes of actual meditation. That's all we have this month, isn't it?
Yeah.
Those two, yeah. And then obviously we've got other stuff coming up. We'll have the meetup next month and stuff like that. And we're going to actually, as part of our, I guess, giving, we're going to run a free meditation monthly after that. So as we run these meetup groups, we're also going to run a free Facebook Live meditation each month too.
And we also caught up with Gawler, and we were very lucky we were able to postpone our level 1 parenting with presence retreat until November. So this gives you more time to engage with us and see if this connects with you, to come on a weekender with Amanda and I, so we can help facilitate your mindful, conscious parenting journey and begin it, you know, so we can guide you through this journey of self-reflection, meeting the inner child, meeting the ego, and just sorting them out and starting to adult and grow up with us, so that you can begin your 28-day plan and then your future journey of being more present and being in that state of mindfulness. Yeah.
All right. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to play our mantra, and the words will come up on the screen so you can sing along with us. Let me see if this works. Here we go. So get ready. The music will play. I've set it up to play. Hopefully it will work. Why is this not working? Here we go. So our mantra will start in a moment, and as the words come up, you're more than welcome to sing with us. Suzanne will play the drum, and here we go. May I be conscious in all my actions. May I be wise in all of my responses. May I be filled with love and confidence and compassion. May I be better connected to myself. May you be conscious in my actions. May you be wise in all of your responses. May you be filled with love and kindness and compassion. May you be better connected to yourself. May we be conscious in all my actions. May we be wise in all our responses. May we be filled with love and kindness and compassion. May we be better connected to each other, one another. So I just want to end with this little quote that I sort of wrote. Every morning is a new day. I will no longer play the waiting game. I am accepting the now. I'm living in the now. I am my anchor in this storm.
Oh, that's lovely.
So enjoy your month of mindfulness. Check in with our Facebook page every day if you're looking for little tips and quotes, because they're all there for you to help you with this journey of mindfulness. And if you're wanting to come to meditation again with us, then definitely come and join us on the 14th and 21st. All right, thank you so much for coming again, ladies. And
thank you.
Thank you so much.
For us. And hopefully we'll see you again next month.
Yeah.
Okay, take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Bye.